I'm Tiana.
And I'm Trav.
And this is I Now Pronounce You,
where we reflect on our experiences and give our opinions.
It can be hard to take the time to process it all.
So we're making the time now.
We welcome you to
I Now Pronounce You. Hey.
Hey.
Hi. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome back to another episode of I Now Pronounce You.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Tiana.
And I'm Trav.
And we are back with episode 54.
5-4.
Can you believe it's been 54 episodes?
It's been a long time. Over a year.
Yeah. So I was looking back because I really wanted to know, what were we talking about this time last year? And so our episode from September 29th was called No Regrets.
No regrets.
If you haven't listened to it, you can go back to it. Trav talks about the regret of his tattoo situation. He has stars.
You got to put it out
on
there?
His arms.
That's unnecessary,
But
dog.
he shares the story and kind of what he learned, what he gleaned from that. And we talk about, like, the Bill Cosby thing was a topic of conversation during
that was heavy
that
at the
week
time.
as well. And so we talked about, the flaws and what he did and all of that. And so
out the way.
If you're interested, you can go back to episode 19 for that one. But anyway, it's officially fall.
Yeah. Hoodie season.
Travis is excited about the hoodie weather.
Mellow hoodie. Hoodie mellow.
I'm excited. What am I excited about? I love tea. So this definitely brings on the tea vibes.
No pun intended.
I don't know why you keep saying that. But, I mean, I do, but I love tea. So, tea's very calming. I like when it starts to get dark earlier. It makes you want to cuddle up under a blanket and, like, relax. And I love watching Halloween movies with my kids, and we do, like, little watch-a-thons and things like that.
And now we can be outside with the movies.
Yeah, so the last episode, we talked about how Tamara was turning 13, and we were doing, like, a little, like, bonfire. And by little, I mean, like, her godmothers and their kids to celebrate her. And it turned out a lot better than, we anticipated. I mean, we knew it was going to be.
Yeah, anytime we do something, we always try to make sure we have a good time.
But yeah, it went off without a hitch. It went very well. We did some karaoke. She didn't do her Hamilton songs though. It was supposed to be like Hamilton themed, but in a slight way,
subtle.
And she was so excited to do her Hamilton songs, and then she didn't. I actually brought it up the next day. I was like, "Hey, you didn't like bust out with your Hamilton songs?"
Right.
And she just said, like, "Oh, I was a little embarrassed to do so."
Yeah. Well, we tried to encourage her. I did my Luke Bryan song.
Trav did his country.
I did my country,
I even did a country song with Fiera. What's that song, babe?
Yeah, we fancy like Applebee's on a date night. Got the Bourbon Street steak with the Oreo shake and the whipped cream at the top too.
Travis has been getting into his country bag the last year.
I don't know what it is. Maybe being on the countryside.
The pandemic brought it on for whatever reason.
I love the whole country lifestyle. I think it's dope.
Yeah. So after we literally, guys, from 6:30 to 8:30, like, everything was shut down, gone, everyone gone, area was cleaned up outside, and so we let the projector roll and we watched some movies. The first one we watched was called The Intruder on Netflix.
It watched
out
us
of
for the
10.
most part.
What do you think? We didn't avidly zero in and pay attention to it fully, but from what we grasped and what we saw, I would say 7 out of 10.
The shots were good. It was some good shots. The plot I didn't quite get throughout the whole thing. I mean, I figured out, what it was without being a spoiler alert, but eventually I got it. I think I was just enjoying the outdoors.
It's one of those movies where it's like, do you really know who you're married to?
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? As the plot thickens.
Because y'all don't know, I got a goat farm.
So, yeah. So, anyway, we wrapped up that, and then we watched The Original Kings of Comedy, which is a classic. Mm-hmm. But we skipped Steve, and we skipped D.L. Hughley, and we just watched Ced the Entertainer. And
they weren't funny back then.
I feel like if we rewatched their parts as an adult.
And Steve, yuck. I'm not trying to hear that.
No.
You know, cause your ass, yuck. I ain't trying to hear none of that, dog.
No, I feel like jokes hit different as an adult. Like, you know that.
Facts.
Like the other day you pulled up Married with Children, which used to be on when we were kids.
Al Bundy, that dude.
And you were listening to it and you were laughing because the jokes hit different as an adult. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like we could probably rewatch their sets and kind of feel that vibe too. Yeah. But I didn't think that Bernie's set aged well.
You tripping.
I didn't
Bernie
think it aged
go
well.
in.
I'm not saying that it wasn't good. I just don't think it aged well.
He said some stuff that was a little out of pocket in today's politically correct society. I get that.
It's like that Young Money Bedrock song. Didn't really age well. If you guys go back and listen to it, like some of the terminology that we would use in a joking way back in the day, like that is not acceptable.
Like Rick Ross when he said on that line.
In a politically correct scene now. Like, I was like, ooh, that didn't really age well. You know what I'm saying? It's no shade to the people who created those things at that time because that's what it was. But just Facts. As we evolve and as we grow and as we have this... Are you
Sorry.
like that?
We be TV in a room, y'all. So like, I get to look at her and I'll get to look at her eyes and all that and her face.
Lord.
I'm like, I like this little joke.
I don't like this situation at all. You like I'm ignoring
the
that
thoughts.
You guys are here.
I'm right here with you. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm sorry. I'm just enamored by the beauty. The beauty,
honey. He's always doling out compliments.
I'm a good guy, man.
I always tell y'all, get a Trav, man. He's always doling out the compliments.
Yeah, man.
So anyway, yeah, that's what we did outside. We didn't come in the house till like 11:30.
Nah, we was lit. We was enjoying
nice.
ourselves.
I was
the
like,
fire was going.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Trav built a new fire pit. It looks amazing. We came a long way from the one we built last
The cinder block joke is OC now, don't it?
Now it is, but at the time,
it did its thing.
At the time, we thought it was wonderful.
Yeah.
But this one aesthetically is pleasing.
It looks professionally done. And it still can be deconstructed and reconstructed if need be. And so like... It's not cemented together.
Yeah, so it's nice. I like it. So that is where I'm thinking a lot of action will happen for the fall. I do want to plan like a family... movie night where we can, invite some family members and things like that to join in.
Even a homies night, like a small kickback with some friends of ours.
That would be
for
nice.
Like a movie premiere or something, it'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be nice to do something like that. Because I felt I can move out in the world, right? Like I feel like I can move. I'm in a school building with tons of people every single day. I stay masked up and all of that. But as it gets cold, the places that you can kind of move and shake in start to lessen and lessen, depending on your comfortability level. If you comfortable, that's cool.
Yeah, do you.
You know what I'm saying? But so I like that we can utilize that outdoor space in a way that just feels good and feels right. Like, it was so nice. Like I just kept looking at the stars and the string lights and being like, the possibilities. You know what I'm saying? You did, honey. But yeah,
ladder and everything. I ain't falling either.
Yeah. So, do you have any goals for the season of like things that you want to accomplish in the fall season? Because I think that we're always thinking about how you can break up the year, right? We're in the third quarter of the year.
Yeah, October 1st would essentially be, I think I'm in business. I think October is the end of the fiscal year. But for me personally, the fourth quarter is October, November, December. So I got to grind for 90 days, business wise, and just get it done. You know what I mean? And just prep for the next year. So
you don't have any specific things that you want to do. It's just...
I mean, like personally?
No, I'm just saying like anything off the top of your head of like, okay, this season is for blank.
This season is just ending the year strong,
Okay.
So if I had goals at the beginning of the year, I never forgot, whether it's financially and, just getting them squared away.
It is a good time to go back and look at those goals I write them down every year. They're somewhere. It's probably in this journal that's in front of me. But I do need to go back and like see how many of those goals did I accomplish. I remember at the beginning of the year, I decided habit change was what I wanted. Like I didn't want to do a weight loss goal. I didn't want to do, anything specific where I would feel defeated if I didn't like match it where I feel like I need to be or whatever.
Yeah.
So I will say I have changed some habits. And so I'm proud about that. Now, whatever else I wrote down, I don't really know. I have to go back and
build a
revisit
rocket and shoot it off. Like, nah. Like,
yeah, I don't
nothing
know what
out of pocket. That's on the 5-year plan.
Trav kept talking about visuals. So if this goes well, then you've checked another thing off of your list.
Yeah, I just feel like it, people love the audio, and I think they should, deserve the opportunity to see, how we interact and engage visually. So I think it's dope.
Just not used to seeing you, but we're going to keep going.
Same here. I enjoy it, though.
So the rumors are true, babe.
What?
So you remember for years, everyone would say that Will and Jada had an open marriage. Not that it's anybody's business.
Because that's your business.
That's your business. Tabitha Brown's new book came out today.
She was in the city today, too.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like her, though.
Anyway. So not that it's anyone's business, but, people, it was rumored that they had an open marriage and they would actively deny that or specifically not speak on it.
This is also a year after the August Alsina whole debacle, right?
I don't remember when that took place, but
I feel like that was last year.
Yeah, but you even could tell during their conversation that it wasn't like a Jada, you hurt me because you know what I'm saying. And there were stories. There were stories that were coming out saying like, oh well, Will had this co-star or that or this was happening. So anyway, Will came out with a he has a book that's dropping pretty soon. I want to say like sometime next month, and he was promoting it, and he did an article in GQ or interview in GQ, and basically he said that him and Jada did not have a traditional marriage,
right,
and that other people were involved, and they didn't want their marriage to feel like a prison. And so they kind of let each other kind of grow and evolve as time went on.
Right.
And I mean, I get the growing and evolving. I don't want you adding bodies during that time, but
that's my thing. The body count thing that's the prison, is the body count. I
don't know how I feel about that.
Everybody's entitled to live their life the way they want to, but I think the body count thing might be a little bit of a stretch. You know what I'm saying?
He even said that he had like an intimacy coach, and he told the intimacy coach that he wanted a harem of women, where it was like he wanted like Hallie, and he wanted
I heard about that.
He wanted Misty Copeland and a bunch of girls to just travel around with him and like just have a harem of women. And he said she told him to logistically go up to those women, propose this, and see how that was going to work out for him. And he said once he started logistically thinking about like what that would look like, how that would be, he realized that it was a stupid idea. Like,
yeah, it wasn't the best course of action, bro.
That's not really going to work out.
He had wanted a whole team of youngins, huh?
Yeah.
This my entourage.
And it kind of puts some things together because I'm not an avid watcher of Red Table Talk. If they have someone or a topic that I think is interesting, like I probably have watched about 4 episodes of it.
Yeah.
I do love the ladies' honesty as they're talking and discussing different things. But Jada shared that when Will and her got married, that she walked down the aisle and she cried.
Because she thought that maybe
she didn't really want to get married, and she was pregnant, I think, with like Jaden or something, and she just felt like it was too much, like everything
all
was
at
just,
once.
Yeah, and I think like marriage wasn't initially what she wanted, and this hasn't come out because
she didn't believe in conventional marriage, right?
Well, like her family members had unconventional relationships, and she just grew up being something that she knew, and this is just my assumption, but my assumption is that because Will had this like Independence Day movie star trajectory, that they felt like they needed to get married and have the family because of what happened with him and Cherie. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he was married.
Image
he had
cleaning up the image, course correction.
Yeah, so I think that had something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm 100% interested in reading his book because I do like memoirs and biographies and things like that. So it might be something that I dive into, and then maybe I can kind of get the answer to that question.
Can I veer off for like a small second?
Okay.
What is your belief system when it comes to an image or having a quote-unquote image? Like, what does that look like to you? Like, do you believe in having something on the forefront for the public to see? Or do you have to, for instance, for me, for a while, I thought I needed to do that, but then I also thought I had a bigger responsibility to show that we're multifaceted.
Yeah.
And no one's perfect.
I don't think that I necessarily had a certain image. I think people have a view of me and how I carry myself.
Right.
And whether or not they get to see other layers, it depends on if you tune into the podcast. It depends on if I'm really close with you, or we grew up together, or I've let you in that way, if you're able to see different things. But pretty much what you see is what you get.
Facts.
There's just maybe some stories and some things that I've gone through, or the way I've lived my life, that you might be like,
oh, T did that? That's wild.
Yeah. So
no doubt.
That's really the only the only difference there. How do you feel about that marriage is a prison thing? Because I had a flood of thoughts that came into my mind. Like, the longer that we are married, because this was year 7, the longer that we're married, I realize that what people see of you, or the image that you have, does not have to closely relate to who I am as a person.
Facts, and vice versa.
And yeah, because for a long time you held on to that. Like, I have to be like clean cut when I go around your family, and I have to because that was the image that you had of me, even though I have an imperfect marriage too. Yes, I understand that there are people that rally behind me and that, just like, oh, Tiana's so wonderful. I get that. But, I don't know. Like, you don't have to try to keep up with what you think or how you think people perceive me.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. I mean, I think that when I started to realize that when I got around people who were somewhat successful, they weren't as uptight as I thought they would be. You know what I mean? They were actually a lot looser, as far as like sharing intimate parts of themselves, not physically, of course, but conversation, you know what I mean? But they were imperfect. They were human beings. You know what I mean? They weren't some cookie cutout that you saw on TV. You know what I mean? They had they had past, they had history doing different things. So they were just saying that, when you're walking into these rooms and handling business in that way and in that fashion, you have to be able to show that you're a real person or a real human being with flaws. I'm not saying go in there with full ebonics and just super loose. Like, if that's you for real, you might not even should be in this position. But, you don't have to be so uptight in a sense, So, I learned that now, and I'm a little more loose. I used to be super uncomfortable, and that used to result in a lot of anxiety because I felt like I had to be this clean-cut, perfect image because that's what, how I got this far. But then I realized that wasn't the case.
I think marriage can feel like a prison if you put so many, like, limitations on things. My wife wouldn't do this. My husband wouldn't do that. And we've talked about this several times, but when you look at that person as a person, someone who's walking through life trying to figure ish out just like you are, then you start to kind of look at things differently. I don't know, not take things so seriously.
No, I agree.
But anyway, that's that. If Will's book comes out,
what if it's a tell-all?
It was some really interesting topics about, like, movie roles that he's chosen and why and things like that. So, topic for another day, I guess. But to the 4 traits stopping you from living your best life, I talked about how I read Bamboozled by Jesus. It was a good read. She talked about how 4 traits stopping you from living your best life. And so we're going to talk about those today. And if you feel the need to say, like, I identify with this specific trait, then I want you to chime in. You good?
Yeah.
All right.
Just checking the tech.
Is that good?
I think it's fine. It's actually the camera still rolling, just letting me know where I'm at with things. So we're good to go. Yep. So
the first one is she calls stagnation of validation. So that's when people feel the need to validate. Like, you need someone to validate your existence, your ideas, your achievements. You need people around you that do that for you.
Okay, I can see that.
So that could be hindering you from moving on or from living your best life if that's the case. Do you, like, know situations of that? Know people like that? Like,
it's an interesting topic because I actually think that I thrive in success independently. Like, I've never been one. I think when I'm in packs, I think that sometimes I always find myself solving issues for everyone around me that would be easy to me. But
and it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're in a pack. It's just saying you really thrive or you are able to execute better when people are feeding you all the time.
Yeah. I mean, when you get the congrats and the pats on the back, it does motivate you to move a little bit further ahead.
So have you ever looked at that as being a hindrance?
It is. It can be. So I guess it's a catch-22 in a sense. But you have to get to a point where you don't kind of need that. So I don't know. It's interesting. I feel both sides of the spectrum.
So the next one is very closely related to stagnation of validation. She calls it asinine of the cosign. And that's where people they thrive with people giving them that attention and that feedback, but they also need that cosign, right? Like, you can do this because XYZ. So taking it one step further. And it made me think of like the flunky mentality. One of my favorite shows growing up was Boy Meets World. And, Harley was like the bad boy, and he had two flunkies, Joey and Joey and I forget the other one. Oh, Joey and Frankie. And so they would legit just co-sign everything Harley said, even if it didn't make sense. Sometimes you would see them like scratching their head a little bit, like, I don't know. But yeah, like, I'm going to rock with that. And so when you have people around you like that, kind of feeding that ego and feeding that part of you, or if you thrive in that, like you need that or you can't do anything.
Some people need that. It's like if some people don't have that, they feel unsure about their decisions. They need somebody to kind of like, yeah, you got it, you got this. They need a permanent cheerleader and, whatever.
Yeah, I think that can work for certain building blocks of your life. It can get you to a certain point. But when you're like sitting in bed or in your room at night and you're alone with your thoughts, you don't have that person like egging you on
exactly
or making you feel complete to move forward. So it may get you to a certain point, but how far is that going to get you?
Exactly.
The third one is blatency of complacency. And these people...
I like the wordplay there. I like how they did that there.
Yeah, go Yvonne Orgy.
Yeah.
She's from the DMV.
Facts.
So I kind of identify with this one. So blatency of complacency means that those are the people that take notes, listen to podcasts, make lists, make vision boards, right? But at the end of the year, their vision is still foggy.
Because they do too much planning and not enough execution?
Maybe that's the case. Just like kind of making sure that it's not perfect and just doing it anyway is the advice that you would give someone like that. I like to think of it as I'm just soaking things in, because I think that sometimes a new year or a new season brings a different side of me that I want to explore.
I think it takes a sort of a level of a balance between the two.
Yeah, and so if I'm exploring it and I don't know where to start, I'll listen and consume things that are inspiring, like this book, which was really dope. Even, I know it says Bamboozled by Jesus, guys, but, it's... I don't know how to describe it. She will take a story, she'll talk about a part of her life. She'll talk about how she feel God was at play. She'll mention something from the Bible, but she'll flip it with slang and everything else. You know what I'm saying? So even if I don't really know a lot of stories from the Bible, I am not big in that world. I am a spiritual person, but I'm not necessarily a religious person. And so I was able to keep up with this book and get all the gems and all the jewels that she was given without having, that major connection with it. But yeah, so, even consuming this book, she made the point to mention at the end, hey, don't just read this book and go on about your merry way. Really make sure you are implementing the things that I'm talking about in here, and, adding value to your life in that way.
Right.
So the fourth trait was called possessing of the blessing.
Oh, wow.
And that just means that, okay, you've gotten to the point where you feel like you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, and you got comfortable.
Yeah, complacency.
You kind of just got, you know what I'm saying? You got You got really comfortable. You got mad comfortable. And she tells this story about how, she booked Insecure and she started doing all of these things. And then she was overwhelmed creatively because she didn't have enough time to do everything. And someone was like, hey, hire an assistant. And she was like, I'm going to pay that. I'm going to pay them this salary every year. Like, I can't take that cut away from me. And they were like, look.
If you do that, though.
If you do that, your money is going to come back to you tenfold because you can work creatively on other things while that person is handling all of those administrative things. And she was like, oh, my God, it really did come true. Like, taking some things off my plate actually added value to that.
Of course.
And so it could be lots of different ways that you're hindering yourself or that you're feeling complacent. I always like to say, my bag is always financially. I'm always like, well, Tiana, there's more that you can do to save for your future, to build, to get things that you want, to be able to put yourself in a better position. Like, don't be complacent just because you got a few things ticked off of your list of things that you wanted to accomplish. And it's not that I'm beating myself up. It's just that I'm holding myself accountable.
Those are facts.
Yeah. But, yeah. So which one you don't have to identify with any of them, but did you identify with any of them?
There's some strong points there.
Like that were meant and like they were stated in several of them, or there's like one that you're like, yeah, that's me? No,
I think everything there has a lot of substance to it. Probably the most recent one of being hindered creatively. You have to find a way to plan, even if you hire an assistant or you work on your calendar and plan, you have to find a way to make things a little bit easier to be able to open up that space. Because I know as a creative that if I get too overwhelmed and inundated with too many things around me, I don't have that freedom, which is my outlet, which is to create, whether it's with tech or, whatever the case may be.
And things are so much more accessible and affordable now. Like there's sites like Fiverr and like there's like gig sites of people who can make a logo in a hot second.
You got Hootsuite for social media posts.
Yeah, people that can, create your ebook cover without you trying to slave and figure out how to do it yourself. And so sometimes you just got to outsource to get some things done that you need to do.
You don't have to outsource everything, but some things you do.
My thing lately has been procrastination in the realm of creativity.
Yeah.
So, when we first started the pod, I was like writing episodes weeks in advance. And then I got really not interested, but I got in the habit of like writing it an hour before we tape.
Right.
And there's like good sides of that where it's like fresh in my mind. There's bad sides of that where it's like I feel a little anxious beforehand, or I listen back and I'm like, man, I could have made that better or made some other key points if I had longer to kind of think about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Procrastination is
we all struggle with it. It's not just you. I mean,
yeah.
Especially when you have a long list of things that you want to try to accomplish. I mean, you can't get it all done in one day, babe. You really can't.
Today's I read it on Reddit. Cue my theme music, Trav.
Doom, 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 doom.
Break it down.
Doom, 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 doom.
Today's I read it on Reddit. Procrastination is ruining my life. Today, I admit procrastination is ruining my life. I put things off.
My life.
I only ever get things done last minute.
Oh, no.
Late into the night when my back is against the wall and I'm forced to deliver. I've done all sorts of things like time management, Pomodoro, breaking things down into tiny chunks. I have no follow-through and often forget about these things. The quality of my work is substandard because I rush it without managing my time. Procrastination is ruining my life and I need help. That was very well written.
My life.
Who are you? Life. Posted by Star Wars Star Trek. You're amazing, Star Wars Star Trek.
Okay, yeah, a lot of emotion there, a lot of descriptive words.
I do feel like there are times that procrastination does bloom and create wonderful things.
Yeah. Some of the best creations have been done when a creative had his back to the wall. His or her back to the wall. You feel me?
So for this person, I would say if you feel like it's ruining your life, I don't know what type of work you do, Star Wars, Star Trek, but possibly instead of maybe, okay, so if you're doing it the night before and you're working late into the night, try to set up at like 6 p.m. instead of thinking about it at 10 p.m.
If he's worked on time management, I'm having a hard time understanding why he still struggles and wait till the last minute. Does he not enjoy what he does for a living? Because sometimes that can also create procrastination.
Now, I like doing the pod, but I still will put off things that I need to do for it. Or I'll hype myself up. Like lately, I'll have an energy drink, right? Like something that's kind of chill. Not like a Bang or a Mountain Dew thing or whatever. But I'll have an energy drink, like some green tea extract or something. And all these ideas just start floating through my mind, right? And I'm like, when I get home, I'm going to execute that. And then I get home. And then I'm making people food. And then I'm putting a little laundry in. And then I'm making up the bed or folding clothes. It's like, all right, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow. And then tomorrow. It's weeks go by.
Yeah.
Weeks go by. And so I do understand, that even if you plan for time management, sometimes it just doesn't go well. So today I decided, okay, I'm just going to take the day off work because it was a half-day schedule. And I'm like, there are some certain things and phone calls that I need to get done that I have not been getting done. So let me go ahead and just use this day for that. And I didn't stay home. I stayed at Panera. So I was in an environment where I felt like I had to get the things done. But the list just was too long and there wasn't enough time.
Yeah, facts.
So I don't know. Star Wars, Star Trek, just try to at least back up an hour or 2 hours before you're actually procrastinating, and then maybe over time that will work. Or we talked about our last episode, like accurate thinking, with just telling yourself that if I start now, I'll get done earlier, and then I can do something that I really want to do.
Facts,
do you know what I'm saying? That works on the weekends for us. We're like, we're going to start and get all of these things done. And then we can
noon,
chill.
if I can, try to get it done as soon as possible. Especially because, now we got Sundays. And I have to get everything done before noon because 1 o'clock is game time. It's time to go. So I got to get it done.
It's time for me to go, too. Away from wherever you were watching the game.
Well, I find my spots. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is,
Did you know, this is really, really random, everybody, but so I was going to do, because there's a segment that we do called Who You Got, and so I was searching for 90s or black sitcoms. I didn't know that Della Reese and Red Fox had a show called The Royal Family.
I didn't know that either.
That Eddie Murphy created.
Was it after Harlem Nights?
It was 1991.
Ooh, when was Harlem Nights made?
Late 80s?
I would think so. Right?
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was in it.
Red Fox died in 1991, so I'm pretty sure.
It may have had a season or so.
Yeah, it was only one season, and I think I'm guessing it wasn't canceled. I'm guessing that he passed and then they didn't continue.
That's probably a dope show to look up and try to find.
Oh, I did. So I was watching, and Ty was like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Was it funny?
Della Reese and Red Fox bickering. He was like a postal worker that was getting ready to retire. And Della Reese, I think she was like a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
And they had a grown daughter. It was based in Atlanta. They had a grown daughter who came to visit from Philly.
This was in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's dope.
She came to visit from Philly with her 3 kids. Lorenz Tate was one of them. Naya Rivera was one of them. And then it was a girl that I've never seen before. She was like the older sister.
Yeah.
And I guess Red Fox's daughter was getting a divorce and she needed a place to stay. And so her and the 3 kids moved in.
They came through. Okay.
So I didn't watch the full episode, but Tyson was like, "Mommy, the thumbs up button." He was like, "Hit the thumbs up. This is good. This is good." So I clicked the thumbs up or whatever.
This is classic.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, that's really random. But I saw a meme earlier today about that Eddie Murphy paid for Red Fox's funeral because Red Fox, his family could not afford to bury him. And so he covered the funeral. So then I knew that happened in 1991. So then when I saw that this sitcom came out in 1991, I started just randomly putting things together.
Two together.
But anyway.
Yeah, it was something about, I think it was It wasn't Quavo. I think it was Offset that paid for homeboy from Friday's funeral.
I don't know. I know they were doing a GoFundMe, and they had like $8,000 or something, and the wife was just saying that there was a lot of fake love going on around on the internet because money wasn't getting donated. And then last I heard, it got to like $50,000. So
yeah, one of the celebrities, like one of the Migos, had donated and finished paying for it.
Okay, well,
just
that's
from
awesome.
from reports from what I saw. So
That's awesome. So, any takeaways you have from today, Travis Scott?
I like, how Yvonne Orji did her thing. You know what I mean? Listen, some different pitfalls that you could probably go through on your road to success.
She went through some stuff, by the way.
did.
It was not an easy journey for her to get where she is now, especially being a Nigerian American where your parents want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, and she decided to be a comedian.
And they're like, what?
They did not respect it. And she even she talked about that a little bit, about how she moved to New York. So she did the DC comic scene, I think, for a little bit, but not very long. She moved to New York and started doing the New York comic scene. But to please her parents, she was getting on the train and coming home every weekend from New York. And
That's
so
grueling,
the
man.
weekend, that's the comedy scene.
Yeah.
Why are you not there? And she said a family member told her, like, you're going to keep trying to please your parents and you're not going to get
where you
need to be. You won't even, you're trying to give yourself a shot, but are you really giving yourself a shot if you're tied to home?
Not giving yourself a fair chance.
Yeah.
Nope.
And so after she did that, like, things started to get progressively better.
Facts.
But yeah, I know, I don't know. You're probably not going to read it, but like, but it was a dope read. If you ever want to discuss over dinner, darling, we can.
Facts.
We can discuss it.
Sounds good to me.
So my takeaway is very similar. Like I said, I enjoyed the book. I liked the content that she was talking about, and she had this quote in there, and it said she was really big on how you act in your personal life, like how you are as a human being, and how that will help you get where you need to be. And she had this quote that said, what lingers in the air after you exit? Like, she wanted you to think about that. Is it a fragrance of gratitude, or is it one of bitterness? You get to decide, and if it's the latter, you can always course correct. And that's something that you mentioned earlier today.
See? I'm on that level, bro.
I like that she didn't just call out people with bad habits or bad behaviors and say, you're trash and you need to be a better human. She always tried to say, like, it can get better. You can decide to change.
And what impression are you leaving when you leave the room? You know what I mean? Do people hate you when you leave?
What impression do you think you get?
It's interesting. I'm not in a lot of rooms these days. So I think that might be something I have to like kind of ponder a little bit. I would like to think that I leave, being a very humble, type of figure, not being pompous or arrogant. I like to think that I bring a lot of love in a room, and people remember that when I leave. But
I think so, babe.
Your image is also based on folks' perception of you, and it isn't always based on your intentions.
That's true.
That can waver depending on the room you're in.
That's true, because you can walk in a room and have a smile and be floating around.
And some people might not like it.
And some people may not like it or think that you're being not arrogant, but like all eyes on me. Like you're trying to take over
Look
a
at me.
space. Yeah.
Nah, you're just happy, dog.
When you're just happy. All right, guys. Hope you have a wonderful week. You can follow us on I Now Pronounce You Pod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to us today, including Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, Apple, all the places, your favorite platforms. You can email us at inowpronounceyoupod@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns. The easiest place people have been doing it is just DMing the I Now Pronounce You Pod page, but whatever floats your boat.
On IG.
All right, guys. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys. Stay safe.